Short-term rentals, the unending battle for regulation. As travelers return post-pandemic, cities are racing to implement new rules to control the booming short-term rental market. But the task of policing this housing sector proves to be a daunting challenge. For almost 15 years, cities worldwide have grappled with regulating short-term rentals, fearing the impact on long-term housing availability. From Dallas to Barcelona, different approaches have been experimented, but no city has found the perfect solution yet. Airbnb claims to be a good partner to cities, welcoming regulations and collaborating with over 1,000 governments. They offer the city portal data tool to assist municipalities, but questions about cooperation persist. Enforcing regulations or rental hosts is an uphill battle. Cities like New York and Berlin have faced difficulties in implementing rules, while Quebec witnessed the tragic consequences of unregistered Airbnbs. Despite Barcelona's rigorous efforts, a significant percentage of Airbnb listings still violate regulations. A mix of false license numbers and host exemptions continues to challenge the city's control over the market. Camden's innovative approach to monitor short-term rentals highlights the challenges authorities face in tracking down rule-breaking hosts. The lack of data and non-compliance by platforms make regulation enforcement difficult. Even hosts following the rules find ways to work around regulations, combining short and medium-term stays. As the stalemate continues, cities and Airbnb are tweaking their tactics to find a middle ground. Short-term rentals, like those offered on platforms such as Airbnb, continue to have a significant impact on the local housing market. With the post-pandemic travel surge, the demand for short-term accommodations has increased, leading to a rise in property owners converting their residential units into lucrative vacation rentals. While this trend attracts tourists and boosts local economies, it also creates challenges for residents seeking long-term rentals. The availability of short-term rentals can limit the housing supply, driving up rents for permanent residents and exacerbating housing shortages in popular cities. Despite efforts by cities to implement regulations, enforcing them remains an ongoing battle. Many rental property owners find ways to evade city regulations, making it difficult for authorities to monitor and control the market effectively. The lack of transparent data sharing by rental platforms hampers enforcement efforts, leaving cities struggling to strike a balance between the benefits of short-term rentals and their impact on the local housing ecosystem. Enforcing regulations on short-term rentals remains a persistent challenge for cities worldwide. Despite efforts to curb the negative impact of platforms like Airbnb on the housing market, hosts continue to find ways to circumvent rules and evade detection. One major hurdle is the lack of transparent data sharing by rental platforms, making it difficult for authorities to track and monitor illegal listings effectively. Hosts often use tactics like splitting properties across multiple platforms, using fake license numbers, or providing limited information to avoid scrutiny. Additionally, the limited availability of addresses in rental listings hampers investigation and prosecution efforts. This lack of hard evidence makes it challenging to impose fines or penalties on rule-breaking hosts. Some cities have tried to enhance enforcement by utilizing third-party software to gather data from multiple platforms, but the process remains resource-intensive and often insufficient. These struggles with enforcement underscore the ongoing battle between cities and rental property owners seeking to operate outside the boundaries of regulation, creating a constant tug-of-war in the realm of short-term rentals. Short-term rentals, like those offered through platforms such as Airbnb, can have both positive and negative economic impacts. On one hand, they provide an additional source of income for hosts, stimulate local businesses, and attract tourists, boosting the tourism industry. Short-term rentals can also help travelers find affordable accommodations, expanding tourism accessibility. However, these rentals also come with costs. The rise of short-term rentals has been linked to increased housing prices and reduced availability of long-term rental properties. This phenomenon can exacerbate housing shortages and affordability issues in popular tourist destinations, affecting local residents' quality of life. Moreover, the influx of short-term rentals can lead to the displacement of permanent residents, disrupting established communities. Additionally, short-term rentals may not always comply with tax regulations, leading to potential revenue losses for local governments. Balancing the economic benefits and costs of short-term rentals remains a complex challenge for policymakers, requiring careful regulation to ensure a sustainable and equitable housing market. Collaborative solutions between short-term rental platforms like Airbnb and cities aim to address the challenges posed by the growing industry. As cities grapple with the impact of short-term rentals on housing availability and affordability, collaboration is key to finding common ground. One example of collaboration is Airbnb's City Portal data tool, launched in 2020. It allows local governments to access information on visitors and hosts, track rental effects on the housing market, and create appropriate regulations. Over 350 cities have joined this initiative, demonstrating the willingness of both parties to work together. Cities are also seeking more data sharing and tax transparency from platforms like Airbnb. By gaining access to comprehensive data, municipalities can better enforce regulations and address housing issues effectively. Additionally, some cities are introducing new regulations to discourage excessive short-term rentals and encourage the return of properties to the long-term rental market. By combining data-driven approaches and cooperative efforts, cities and short-term rental platforms can work towards sustainable and mutually beneficial solutions for their communities. Evading city regulations refers to the practice of hosts and property owners finding ways to bypass or circumvent the rules and restrictions imposed by cities on short-term rentals. As cities grapple with the impact of platforms like Airbnb, some hosts resort to creative strategies to continue operating outside the boundaries of local laws. Various methods are employed to evade regulations, such as splitting a property across multiple platforms, using fake license numbers, or manipulating property descriptions and photos to disguise short-term rentals as long-term residences. The enforcement gap and lack of comprehensive data from rental platforms further complicate the situation, making it difficult for cities to identify and penalize rule-breaking hosts effectively. As cities continue to seek solutions to the challenges posed by short-term rentals, it becomes crucial to address the issue of evasion to ensure fair competition, maintain housing availability for long-term residents, and strike a balance between the benefits and costs of the booming short-term rental market. Cities and short-term rental platforms are yet to find the perfect formula to balance the economic benefits of tourism with the impact on long-term housing and local communities. In conclusion, the struggle between Airbnb hosts and city regulations is far from over, with both sides adapting their strategies in an ongoing battle for control over short-term rentals. As travelers continue to flock back, the quest for the right formula to regulate this housing sector remains an exciting yet challenging journey.